Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number 651 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, and it looks like it will be a lovely day here at the Beaver Lodge. I already see the sun in the sky, a little bit of white fluffy cloud, but otherwise it looks like a beautiful day. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and with me as always for a while this morning is Mr. Grizzly, our good friend and my good friend. A big thank you goes to the podcast's founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. It's been an interesting time for me. We'll get into that later. But before we do anything else, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
Mental health today, I'd have to say it's a 100% improvement over yesterday's.
Oh,
Yesterday started out great, and then did the show, and then took Lola out and got back home, and I'm like, I'm not feeling good. I should lie down for a few minutes, and I did. Took a nap, and then looked out the window, and the gray clouds were also in my head. So I didn't get a damn thing done yesterday. Nothing. I didn't get off the couch. All I did was take Lola out, and I did eat. So, but it was just one of those days. Sometimes it happens, and yesterday was one of those days when the gray clouds were in my brain, and it was not pleasant. I had plans to do a few different things yesterday, and I got nothing done, and I feel shame. I feel guilt. That's the Irish Catholic thing, eh?
Yeah.
So yeah, but today I'm feeling 100% better, which is I'm not 100%, but I'm 100% better. So let's roll with that. How about yourself?
Well, I guess first I have to offer apologies for not being on the show yesterday. I really would have loved to have been on the show yesterday. But for those who have not been following my socials.
On the crutches, eh?
Yeah, I am now in a very, very, very interesting love triangle. Crutch number one, crutch number two. It seems that, on Saturday, it was my Beaver Sweetie's birthday. And we were in Toronto with family, and we were having a party. Was for both of us.
Yeah, because
my birthday is 2 days after it was yesterday.
Yeah. Say happy birthday, by the way. Belated happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks. Wasn't very.
Hey, you got a unique present.
Yeah.
A walking cast.
Yeah. And
at least it's not plaster.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I got an ear cast, but So yeah, we were at the party and things were going well, and the adults were talking at one point, and the kids were playing. And well, I'm all of six inside, so I went outside to play tag with the kids. And uh, as I was running, I guess instead of landing like this with my foot, at one point I sort of landed like that. And if you take the x-ray from the top, there's nothing. But if you take the x-ray from the side of my foot, right here, the metatarsal, my baby toe on the side, split. It's not twisted. It's not completely broken, but it got torque twisted.
Mm-hmm.
And then the metatarsal for the second toe here, there's a fracture, so it didn't completely break. It seems that things are in a good position, that it could heal, and that I might not need pins, but I will go to an orthopedic surgeon in 2 to 3 weeks. But yes, no weight at all. Well, basically as elevated as possible for the next 2 weeks. No weight bearing at all. Probably no weight bearing in the aircast for 6. And then probably nothing really strenuous for another 2. So yeah, I'm probably like this until about July 9th. So yesterday was not the best mental health day. We basically got back from Toronto around like 11:30 at night on Saturday. It's Saturday, Sunday, so I could come and do the Monday show with you. And I guess some of the swelling started to go down, more of the pain felt there. So we decided to go to the hospital to be sure, because you don't want a foot to heal incorrectly. So we figured we'd go quickly. And basically I started pretty much my birthday at the hospital, and left there around 4:30 in the morning, got back around 5:20. So that's why I didn't do a show, because, well, one, I was tired, and two, I will admit, mental health wise, I'm not taking this well. It's Let me put it this way. As I was telling Mr. Grizzly, I get it. It's just a broken foot. I mean, listen, I've had major reconstructive knee surgery. I was doing
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my knee subluxed. Like, I had to learn to walk all over again. I had to, like, my leg had completely atrophied. I had to build my leg, the muscles in my leg, up from nothing, and then learn to walk all over again. Learn how to climb stairs and go downstairs all over again, like that, from zero at the age of 25. So, I mean, this is nothing compared to that. And yet, well, as you know, kids and cubs, it has been a rather tough year. So, I was looking forward to lots of tennis this summer, and losing weight because I gained a lot.
You're not going to be playing tennis for a while.
Yeah, and and now I'm looking at basically the next 2 months, not housebound, because I can go out, but I'm not going to be walking 5K on crutches for the mental health walk.
No.
Yes.
Maybe we could borrow a chair for you, and you could wheel along beside Kyle.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not. It took me about 35 minutes to get from bed to this seat this morning. Normally that takes
You are
2.
not going to make it well as a wheelchair user, sir. You gotta step up your game. Get your act together.
And here's the thing, is that when I had the reconstructive knee surgery, I was on crutches for about 9 straight months. I'm really good on crutches. I haven't lost a beat. I could go up the stairs and this, but I don't have the muscle endurance yet in my wrists and my armpits for long walks. So yeah, I know being injured when you're older is different too.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now, I'm in a lot of pain. I can feel my foot, and I'm trying to not let it distract me. And I'm not. Basically, I've been crying most of the day yesterday, feeling really sorry for myself and being a big baby. But I will get over it. And but yeah, I had the whole feeling the entire time it happened, of no good deed goes unpunished. right?
Mhm.
Because like we moved mountains to like give my beaver sweetie like the most beautiful birthday party, at home with his family and friends, 25 nice party room, kids, adults. Like I mean, it was just a beautiful vibe. Everything was
Mhm.
gorgeous, and I didn't let anybody know that I had basically hurt myself with like about 3 hours to go in the party. So I was just like, it's like even when like twisted my legs and my foot in front of the kids, I didn't go ow. It just happened. It was like,
Mhm.
and it's like, it says, "Where are you going?" So, "Oh, there's a bottle here. I'm just gonna bring it in so the glass doesn't break and stuff." And I just like walked normally back to like this, and I went to the bathroom. I was like, so
So,
not very many people knew I hit it through the rest of the party, but like, oh my god,
so
except
the
for the limping, of course, that some people
so
noticed.
what I find unique about this is because you are wired for optimism. You're
I
not somebody
am,
who feels depression often, very rarely in your life, right?
yeah,
Whereas I'm faced with that dark cloud every day of my life.
yeah,
So a few years ago, when I had cellulitis in my elbow and had to go on a IV 24/7, and then I had a PICC line put in, and I was on that for about 3 months. Uh, During that entire time period, I was nothing but super optimistic and positive. I never had one bout of depression or anxiety. I think when my mortality was placed in jeopardy, because as I found out later, cellulitis can kill you if not treated. I had no idea. And mine was oddly in my elbow, and it usually starts in your legs. So they
yep,
were like puzzled by all of that.
yeah,
Anyway, what I'm getting at is it had the opposite effect on me when I'm facing, some sort of possible mortal injury. I'm all the bad stuff in my life goes away, and all I do is just be super positive. Whereas it has the opposite effect for you, sir, where you're
yeah,
super positive all the time, and now you're in this dark gray area, which is
yeah.
bizarre for all of us because we're used to that with me. We're not used to that with you.
I know, and here's the worst thing too, is like when the leg like when they gave me the surgery for the leg and they told me everything that was involved,
Right.
it was like, okay,
Hmm.
let's do this.
Yeah.
I was ready. Without going into stuff, so, like I've gotten medical diagnoses over the course of my life that were some of them was like, exactly like
Not good.
that. You might
Yeah.
die,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Um,
If we don't do this, you're going to die.
yeah,
Okay.
and
Let's do it.
it's like okay, sure. It's like, I think it's just a cumulative thing that it was just it's like I
Probably.
was just so looking forward to like just me, my sweetie,
Hmm.
my show, my damn femme, my
Yeah.
tennis, and I'm good.
You, you've not had a pressure release valve.
Yeah, and
And this is the buildup of it all, I think.
yeah, and with tennis, I get to smack the shit out of something. Right? It's a good release
So
valve.
heavy
There's a
bag,
reason I'm so happy. I get to
heavy bag in the gym.
heavy bag in the gym, I guess, or like this, or like we bought some free weights, I guess.
There you go.
So like lift and pump, but it's like my two favorite, other than like time with my sweetie and time with the damn family. That's my two
Hmm.
favorite things in the world are tennis and dancing.
Yeah, and
And I
dancing's out.
couldn't do either on my birthday. It's like,
Tennis is definitely out.
So yeah, it sort of felt like like my entire beautiful summer just crashing down. I guess I um had the nails in the floor, but like this is going to be a beautiful summer, damn it, because I deserve one.
Hmm.
And yeah, and it's well, let's put it. I'm not going to say it's not going to be a beautiful summer because that's way too negative. It's going to be a beautiful summer, but it's going to be a beautiful summer in another way. But it's just going to require a lot of work.
That's bad. Hey, man, anything worthwhile takes work. I have something to share with you that you've not. I don't think you've been. I don't know. I don't think you've seen this yet. And I'm going to share this with you. It's a clip of our favorite premier
Mm.
saying and doing the things we love him and appreciate him for. And this
Oh, thank
is
you.
going to put
Give
a
me some
smile on your
wob.
face.
I need some wob.
You're gonna love this. Trust me.
Hit me with the
Why are
wob.
we helping these two kids from Gaza get health care that they can't get in the region? And we're doing this because at the end of our lives, when we meet our Maker, and the good Creator asks us, you who were given so many opportunities, How did you use my grace to ease the suffering of innocence? I want the good people of Manitoba to be able to continue to say, kind spirit, perhaps we failed insofar as we could not stop all suffering and we could not stop all war. But we did what we could, and we did not look away. And so to the people of Manitoba, I want you to know that this is who we have always been. We have always been a people who stand up during times of conflict and famine and natural disaster to help the innocent. And we must continue to be that. And notwithstanding the failures over our history to stand up for the rights of Indigenous children, at this time of Every Child Matters, I want us to continue to plant our flag in the notion that our province and our country can be a beacon for human rights around the world. And so it's with the greatest of humility that I'm asking you, my fellow Manitobans, to set out 2 more place settings at the table of our Manitoba family. And to our newest fellow residents here in the province, I want to say that I can only imagine what you've been through over the last little while, but I want you to know that no matter how bad things get, there are always people who are willing to help. And you can call them Manitobans. You can call them Canadians. And we will always support your right to return home when it is safe for you to do so. But if you choose to stay here, then I want you to know that there is a place for you in Manitoba. And then you too can be the helper. You too can be a Manitoban. And you too.
Love that.
I thought you'd like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. Love that. Looking through the chat here, thank you, Kits and Cubs. Those of you who sent some love, thank you. I also noticed that some didn't, but that's okay. That's your right, I guess. Whatever. I don't know what the deal is, but okay. All right, Kits and Cubs. Well, I'm sure that Mr. Grizzly talked about it a little bit yesterday. I saw from the title. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to watch the show, Mr. Grizzly, so I can't give you compliments. I'm sure you did a great job. I hadn't watched it yet.
I was very tired.
Yeah. But for those who are watching, we're down to 1. It's just Edmonton. The Jets and the Leafs teased us and gave us hope, maybe Game 7 for extra game, but no, it didn't happen. Ultimately, the Winnipeg Jets were eliminated, and then I think it was last night or the night before. The night before, the Leafs, and a lot of people
were humiliated.
Yeah, a lot of people were upset with the Leafs, and I'm listening to a lot of commentary. I think one person said, the last 2, they said. I think there was a guy on TV says everybody knew when the Leafs when Game 5 happened exactly what was going to happen, that the Leafs would have the best game of the season the next one, and then they would get and that's exactly what happened. So there's a lot of talk going around about the big 4 on the Leafs maybe finally getting split up somehow, because it doesn't. A lot of people suspecting that. Maybe Marner will want to go a different way, and and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The guy with the mustache, Austin Matthews. Might want to go somewhere, and maybe Tavares will stay. It seems that he wants to stay, but will it be the same?
The rumor is Marner's on the chopping block.
Yeah. So yeah. But
Sorry, Sandy.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the person who seemed to have made one of the people that seemed to have made the most news after all of this was Justin Bieber, because he was about the only person on the planet who still had a positive attitude.
Yeah.
He said, hey, this is the team to do it. Don't worry, next year, right off the bat, good effort. This is the most hope that we've had in a long time. So thanks for that. But then there was other things of guy burning 2 jerseys. It's you do realize that's about $500. Just put up in smoke, right?
What are you doing? What are you doing, man? It's a protest. A protest would be not spending money on stuff like that in the future. Burning it because you're angry is not a protest. That's just throwing money away.
Yeah. So it's like you've already bought. It's like take it, pack it in a box, put it somewhere like this until you're proud to wear it again, and then take it out. But don't burn it, man.
Mm.
It's still a good shirt. So even if it's not a good team, it's still a good shirt. Keep
You
the
could
shirt,
donate
man.
it to somebody.
It's
At a
like,
protest, donate it.
don't
Drop it off
disrespect the
at the local,
textile.
like the no. There's got to be some sort of, and I'm not going to say what's the name of the used goods stores. They're a chain.
Yes.
What do they call them? I can't remember. But they're not. They call them something that sounds like they're in it for the goodness of humanity when they're not.
Yes.
It's a for-profit organization. It's a big American company. They
Yeah.
got chain stores. But like there's usually like St. Vincent de Paul here in Ottawa,
Yep.
which is locally run, and the benefit the money goes back into the community. People donate stuff there, they sell it at make some money, and the money goes back into the community to help the local
Right.
folks. Neighborhood services, there's all kinds of organizations like that in cities across the country, cities and towns and villages across the country. So maybe do that instead of burning it. Just donate it.
Right.
Donate it to an organization that can sell it and put that money to good use instead
Right.
of, I don't know, Value Village. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Value Village. I personally refuse to shop there
Okay.
because they like to have you think that they are this big organization that does good work for the community. No, they're for profit. They're
Okay.
for profit.
When you were talking about it originally, I thought I was going to go, oh, the Will Good stores.
Goodwill stores.
But no, okay, if you mean Value Village, yeah.
Goodwill.
I think that's just a straight up for profit corporate.
That's all it is. You donate stuff, or you can. I think they have a consignment function there. I'm not sure, but either way, it's just a for-profit organization. Yeah, it is. It's kind of a shady place, allegedly.
Okay. Oh, all right. So yeah, come on. But hey, we still got the Oilers, man. The Oilers
Yes,
are now Canada's team.
and they're looking pretty strong right now. So I
Yeah.
think they should be able to pull off. Well, I mean, they got a tough customer against Dallas.
Oh yeah, they're
Dallas
very,
is
very
not
good
going
team.
to roll over.
Yep. Yeah, I've been when those matches that they picked the Jets' pockets there to win in that last round. It was like, oh man, it's like why? It's like watching it was like being in a horror movie and like seeing like the villain come at you like this one's like you've lit it on fire, you've drowned it, you run it over with your car and it's still coming at you and you're going, why won't you just die? It's like go away, Dallas, but they wouldn't go away, and yeah, they won the series. So oh well, that's the way it goes. That's hockey for you, kids and cubs. That's hockey. In other news, my friends, Stam Fam, it looks like we might be up for another strike at Canada Post. Kids and cubs, according to Global, Canada Post workers have issued a strike notice to start on Friday, May 23rd at 12 a.m. local time. On Monday, Canada Post said it was notified by the Canadian Union of Postal Workers that workers for both urban and RSMC, that's rural and suburban mail centers, bargaining units issued a strike notice. Operations will continue as usual until then, but Canada Post warned that a labor disruption would affect the millions of Canadians and businesses that rely on the postal service. Quote, in the end, that Cup W initiates rotating strike activity. Canada Post intends to continue delivering in unaffected areas while working to reach negotiated agreements, the organization said in a statement. A strike or lockout would mark the second time under 6 months the Postal Service ground to a halt after 55,000 employees walked off the job for 32 days in November and December. And if we remember when that started, everybody was giggling and laughing, going, yeah, right, well, who gets the mail anymore, right? It's not gonna be. And then we realized that, oh, yeah.
Folks who do not live in large urban areas absolutely need that service. Now, it's not supposed to turn a profit. It's a service, which means the ideal thing is to break even, but they've been losing a lot of money. So maybe they have to restructure things, but they've also been ripping off their employees by management pocketing big dollars and big bonuses. It's like, wait a minute. Bonus? You're losing money. No, you're a service, serve Canadians, period.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah,
End of story.
you just provide the service. That's right.
Well,
That's what it is.
and here's the other thing too.
And that's
that
why
a
we
lot
don't
of
run
folks-
government like a business, right? Because you
That's
got to
right.
provide services.
The one other thing that sorry, I just got a message here. Yeah, sorry, I have to address something later. The one other thing that we need to talk about is the fact that this service, yes, rural folks and folks in remote locations around the country absolutely do require the use of Canada Post. There are also businesses, small businesses,
Right.
in major urban areas that
Right.
need it because they can't use the private sector ones because they're A, too expensive, and B, don't service the clients that they have in different areas of the country.
Exactly. And that was the other thing that we learned because that strike, as you remember, happened in November and December, right before Christmas season. And everybody's, oh, packages, oh, parcels, oh, what about our bit? So Canada Post, like I said, even though we mostly use email and all that type of stuff, and yeah, most of the mail that actually does come to our door now seems to be more advertising and stuff. It's still an essential service, right? There are people that receive medications.
Yes.
Right, some of them life-sustaining medications on a regular basis. Like this is vital service. So there's not so much of a flippant attitude going into it this time around because we kind of had our eyes opened.
And I think that's the thing. A lot of us didn't realize that. And you know, I had friends, I don't care. And I go, well, you know, let's take a closer look at this because I've been reading some. And when I pointed this out to them, they like, oh, I never thought about that. And I go, well, of course you wouldn't think about it. You're not in that situation.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's because the mail is not so much like we all, I can't say we all remember that, but I'm old enough to remember a time when, postal service was like, people talk to their mail delivery person, right? And there's a relationship often, when mail delivery person saw that there was mail accumulating like this, and they knew that there was a senior living alone there like this, they would knock on the door, they would check on them, they would, the post office is where people gather to talk about stuff. So just because the post office isn't so much in our faces as a daily consumer anymore, right, doesn't mean that it's not still an essential service and vital, and that it's not very important in other areas.
Right.
So it's more for business and other type of stuff, and delivery of other things, and the places where the big companies like FedEx and UPS don't go, where people live, that still have to have things delivered, right? So there's a whole other element there, just because the traditional front-facing Canada Post mailman at your door, hi, how you doing, like this, even like bringing them like a cup of coffee on a cold day or something, right? That's not the situation so much anymore, especially if you're living in an urban area, but that doesn't mean that's the reality for everyone.
Well, and you do have to also consider the fact that it is an essential service. It is a not-for-profit service. It's not supposed to. And if you look at how in the UK they privatized their mail service, Royal Mail became a private corp, and wow, are they regretting that. There's talk of turning the USPS, United States Postal Service, into a private entity, a private corporate entity. And there are people fighting it tooth and nail. And you know what? I support them in that fight, because once that service is gone and it goes to the private sector, not only will your prices go up and increase, not only will your service diminish, but a lot of people just simply won't be able to get the things they need. Because it's not profitable for them. Period.
Yep.
And again, it's not a service is not meant to be a profit. It's a service. There are times when it's going to break even. There's times when it's going to lose money. Now, Canada Post has been losing money for a long time. That's not up for debate. It's a simple fact. And yes, they might need to adjust how they do things. Maybe look at some of the executive pay packages and go, well, yeah, hang on a second here. Why are you getting a bonus when we're losing money? Why are you getting a raise when we're losing money, but the rank and file haven't had a raise in how many years now? This is why they're going on strike. Right. So, let's stop punching down on people who are just like us and start punching up on those who are punching down.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, it says here, in the event of a national labor disruption, mail-in parcels will not be delivered and no new items will be accepted until the disruption is over. Any mail and parcels currently in the network will be secured and delivered once operations resume, Canada Post stated. A work stoppage would affect millions of residents and businesses who typically receive more than 2 billion letters and roughly 300 million parcels a year via the service. However, the socioeconomic checks will continue to be delivered, and workers have agreed to ensure government financial assistance delivered by mail will reach seniors and other Canadians who rely on it. Any shipments of live animals will also continue during a labor disruption. However, no new shipments will be accepted during the disruption. Live animals through mail? Really?
Guess that's news to me.
I guess so. I just never thought of that,
Mhm.
actually. On Friday,
Never occurred to me.
Me neither. On Friday, a report by an industrial inquiry commission called Canada Post, quote, effectively insolvent, and stated that daily door-to-door letter mail delivery for individual addresses should be phased out. Commissioner William Kaplan laid out 7 recommendations as part of his report into the ongoing dispute. Quote, my recommendations are based on my conclusion that there is a way to preserve Canada Post as a vital national institution, Kaplan wrote. Kaplan said that the Crown Corporation's charter should be amended, saying it, quote, cannot continue to require impossible-to-meet delivery standards, but added while individual address delivery should be phased out, businesses should still receive deliveries daily. He also said community mailboxes should be established wherever practicable. Last year's Canada Post strike shut down postal operations for more than a month during peak shipping season ahead of the winter holidays. The 2024 work stoppage resulted in an estimated $1.6 billion in losses for small businesses, according to Merchant Growth, a small business financing company. Since then, FedEx and Purelator have raised their freight rates. Go figure. Yay, capitalism.
Well, Purelator is an offshoot of Canada Post.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, it might be a little bit of a labor disruption there, kids and cubs coming up, but yeah, it's one of those things, as you know, in this on the show, we always support people getting paid what they're worth.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, during the last labor disruption, for want of a better term, if memory serves, Purelator said they would not pick up the slack for Canada Post. In solidarity with one another. It's like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're going, we're going to do what we do, and that's it for that. Yeah.
So it seems that when the strike stopped, I guess they hadn't come to a deal yet, but they were agreed to further discussions, and see that some discussions had indeed taken place, but probably not enough, and I guess with either not enough seriousness or intention or whatnot, so that we're back in this situation again, essentially. So right away, there might be an interesting situation for the new government, because last time this was one of the few labor actions during the mandate of the previous government in which the government did somehow do something to legislate people back to work, or to squeeze back to work. I think there was like 3 or 4 actions near the end of the last government term that were like pretty big. I guess action did need to be taken, but nobody wanted to do that. Really. And we had the labor minister saying, even like right up until the moment where action absolutely had to be taken, couldn't be ignored anymore, saying, no, we really want to negotiate. But they didn't immediately go to action to stop it. So this is the type of thing that might require that again, depending. It's not, because it's not so much in the Christmas season, that type of stuff, it might not be as urgent. But it will probably require something of the sort again if this drags on, and it will be interesting if for this government's first labor headbutting, it comes with something legislated to start off. That probably, the advantage, I guess, is that the NDP is a bit of a mess. So, there's not going to be too many consequences for the government. In fact, in the previous government, when they legislated, I think it was the pilots back to work. I think it was. But I can't remember what the first one. I really thought that was the basis on which Mr. Singh was going to declare that the supply and confidence agreement no longer was. And surprisingly, that wasn't the case. I think that was sometime in September or something. But hey, we'll see what happens here. The Liberals are not in the supply confidence agreement, so it doesn't really matter this time in that sense. But it would be very interesting for this new version of a Liberal government to start off with a labor dispute and start off with having to somehow take some action that would send people back to work. The Liberals did it in a very interesting way last time. They didn't actually pass back to work legislation, but I think they asked the Canada Industrial Labor Relations Board or something like that to intervene in a certain way that gave people no choice but to have to go back to work. So it wasn't the typical way of doing it, but it left a lot of conservatives saying, "Hey, if we could have done that, we would have just done that all the times." So it did create a bit of a precedent that could potentially be abused of by other governments of different ideological stripes later on, which was the new twist in that decision. Those are things you want to be careful when you're creating. You don't want to use bad cases to create new precedent that may not be good. So
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very
that's
true.
very true. So, but we'll see what happens there. But already a labor challenge, and which was really interesting because if you remember when Mark Carney named his interim cabinet, there was a minister of jobs, but not a minister of labor. And then you had people going, "Hey, why is labor not important anymore?" And in this cabinet, there is a minister of labor, or labor. The word labor showed up in a title again rather than jobs. So I think
Right.
the message was received that labor is a little larger than just jobs as a subject matter. So we'll be keeping our eye on that over the next while to see what the developments are. Hopefully, both parties will be showing up in good faith and be able to hammer out something before businesses and individuals are inconvenienced. And if they're inconvenienced, hopefully they will resolve that very quickly. But it is good, and that was the thing with the Canada Post employees last time too. We have to remember that the Canada Post employees really did want to make a deal, and it was the organization that shut them out and did not come to the table. It was the organization that kept on saying, "Yes, we will deliver these types of things, and we'll make sure the letters get to Santa and that your checks were there and stuff like that." And the organization was locked them out, right? So be nice to your postal workers, because they are trying to fight for their rights in a way that's as minimally disruptive to you as possible. They are being thoughtful. Okay. Yeah, do you have anything, Mr. Grizzly? Because I know you have to go soon. So
Yeah, I have to go in about 20 minutes. There's a couple of different things I wanted to address here, but I don't know if these really fit today. That's some. This is interesting. GOP hardliners threaten to stall Trump agenda on eve of president's visit to Capitol Hill. I'm like, wow. So they remain opposed to approving Donald Trump's sweeping tax and spending bill in the House this week, and even Trump himself may not be able to change their minds.
Yep.
I'm like, whoa, that's interesting.
It's a. I'm not an expert in this, and I know that there's some kids and cubs who know more about this. I think PNC and Bio might be one. But we have the stock market, and that's the one we hear about all the time. But there's the bond market, and the bond market is several times larger than the stock market. And that's where all the pressure is coming on. It would seem, well, as you might know, the United States had their credit rating downgraded by Moody's. Right, they went from AAA status to AA1 status, which is like there's AA1, AA2, AA3, and a whole bunch of stuff. There's a long way. There's like 6 or 7 or 8 steps before you get to, I think it is BBB, which is essentially junk bonds. You're getting close to junk bond status.
Yes.
So there's a lot of steps. But I thought for a second there, it's like on the weekend, I go, ooh, wonder what the stock market's going to do. And yesterday in Canada, the stock markets were closed, but in the United States, they were up a little bit. And I watched, I looked today before coming on the show, and the pre-market is like pretty much flat. So I was surprised that it didn't take a hit. But when what we're looking at is, it seems that what's going on in the United States is that Donald Trump really, really wants to pass a multi-trillion-dollar budget
Big
cut for the
beautiful
super
bill,
rich.
he keeps calling it. Yeah.
Yes, but he also, and nobody can agree with him how to get there, because in order to do that, they gotta severely cut what they call entitlements, Social Security and Medicare and that type of stuff. And the thing is in the United States, even though the representatives, like in Congress, are like our MPs, they represent a district and whatnot, because their senators represent a whole state. So when they go to an election, they have to compete statewide. So while you can be, for example, in the equivalent of Battle River Crowfoot, let's say in the United States, that votes 82% conservative. Let's say there's
Mhm.
an American equivalent, whatever the name of that is. You can go there and I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them. You as a representative will get back into the House. But if in the entire state, let's say Nebraska, Omaha, the main city itself, is mainly or is more dominantly Democrat, and then you've got pockets of Democrats in all these red places, and there are more of them overall. Because as a senator, you won't win your seat. You'll get bounced. So the senators are way less inclined to want to pass this tax cut than the House is. Um, then Donald Trump had promised a whole bunch of things like no tax on tips and all that type of stuff. And it seems that the way that they are organizing this is that these tax things, these measures are going to be in place until like 2028, 2029, the end of this term. And then those tax benefits are scheduled to end. And then all the tax cut for the 4 trillion seems a lot of it is backloaded after that. So on the balance sheets at the end of the year, it won't show that uh, what the whole is until, let's say, Trump only does the 4 years, and let's say he decides to go like this. Once he goes, then it shows up.
Mhm.
So they're trying to hide the big hole that they're creating until the end of Trump's current term, assuming he doesn't get another one and he can run away with no accountability and all that happens. Problem is that the bond markets see this happening. It's not like the bond markets are going doody doody doo. Oh, I have no idea. Like they see it happening. The credit rating agencies are seeing this happening. It's like, oh, so this is when it's going to land. Oh, well, yeah, we don't like that. So that's where the pressure is coming on here. Um, it's still going to be messy for a while. I I don't see how he gets his one big beautiful
It's
bill
not
the
gonna
way that
happen.
he wants it. But again, the Republicans keep on finding new and interesting ways to bend over and contort themselves. So I'm not
Who
putting it
knows?
past
You
them.
know, uh,
Um,
this
but it
is
would be
gonna
a
hurt
very,
millions
very
of
bad
people.
move if it passes.
It's gonna hurt millions of people, and they don't give a shit.
No,
They
they
don't
don't.
care
They
because they get to
really don't.
pocket more money.
Yeah.
Corporate welfare for the wealthy. Rugged individualism for the rest of us.
Yeah. So, good to keep your eyes on that one because that's like I said, everything about this thing seems to be smoke and mirrors and like crafted strategically to try to pull the wool over the public's eyes like this. And then once all the people have gotten all their spoils and they just disappear and everybody's left with a wait, what the hell happened?
Mm.
Which is very Trump, actually. If we look at his sort of business models throughout his career. So again, none of this is uh, surprising to people who are starting to understand the psychology of Trump and Trumpism. But yeah, he's basically trying for a huge transfer of wealth from the
Mhm.
poorest to the most obscenely
Richest.
rich
Yeah.
at the moment. And like I said,
It's
well, we pointed out you can
trickle
see,
up.
yes, and we pointed out we can see it in the trade agreements, right? That one with the UK.
Mhm.
I was listening more about it. The reason why the UK were not hit with the initial counter tariffs was because the United States actually has a trade surplus with the UK
Yeah,
as opposed to a trade
interesting.
deficit. But they still found a way to negotiate the UK into accepting 10% across the board tariffs in exchange for cars coming in, luxury cars, of course, for the Donald Trumps of America, coming in at tariffs that are lower than the steel tariffs being and aluminum tariffs being imposed on the cars already.
Yes. Well, this from Tabby G. Make people so poor and hungry that they will work for any wage in order to eat. That's what I see as the goal. Welcome to the new feudal state.
Bend you over a barrel politics. It's the hallmark of conservatism.
Yeah, it is. It is. In other news, because I do have to go in 10 minutes, in other news, I don't know if you're aware of Bill 5 in the province of Ontario.
Mm-hmm. We haven't had a chance to talk about that because there's been too much damn news, but
Well, Bill 5, which is also named the... Hang on a sec, I'll just move it over so I can read it a little bit easier.
No rights for you if you work, Bill. I would call it.
It's Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act in 2025.
Now, when
It was
Doug
introduced by the Ontario government last month.
When Doug says Protect Ontario, he means it the same way he talks about that iron ring
Around the seniors' retirement residents.
He doesn't mean all of
the ring is
Ontario.
around the corporate shareholders, not the individuals.
He doesn't mean all of Ontario.
No. If enacted, it would grant the province the ability to create special economic zones where businesses or projects could operate under significantly reduced environmental protections or municipal oversight.
Why? Why?
Well, I mean, it's simple. He just wants to do whatever he wants to do. Development is important for our province, but I don't think we should be sacrificing things like archaeological sites, our heritage, or our rare species, said Scarlett Genesis. I hope I said her name correctly. Past president of the Ontario Marine Heritage Commission. These are elements that have no voice of their own, so we as citizens of Ontario need to speak out for them and for their protection. I think using the excuse of we can't take care of nature because we need jobs is a huge fallacy. That's from Paul Pratt. He's a conservationist. The Ford government pitched Bill 5 as necessary to develop natural resources in Ontario in response to the threats posed by the province, posed to the province by U.S. President Donald Trump and his tariffs. President Trump wants to destroy our economy, take jobs away from Ontarians and Canadians, and we have to get up and fight like we've never fought before. Well,
Yeah, but fighting like you fought before doesn't mean just jumping in the ring and start throwing haymakers, not looking where you aim before you. If the guy's behind you and you're throwing punches in front of you, what's the deal? What's the point? Guys who's going to tap you on the shoulder, you turn around, poof, you get cuffed.
One of the environmental protections targeted by Bill 5 is the Endangered Species Act 2007, which identifies and protects species at risk. The act would be replaced by the Species Act 2025 Act that experts say is a much weaker piece of legislation, granting government the ability to decide which species receive protection. While speed is of essence for the province, Windsor naturalist Paul Pratt believes a measured approach is necessary to ensure that major products do not put irreplaceable natural assets at risk in southwestern Ontario. Yeah, this is not good.
So
this bill is bad.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just environmental rights. I think there are like labor rights and other things too that are going in that. I mean, this is like basically this is a pretext to try to create zones where we go back to Oliver Twist.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
essentially, all in the name of we got to. Basically, it's never let a good crisis go to waste. Oh my God, Donald Trump is such a threat. Vote me. I'll protect Ontario. Thank you for voting me. Now let me dismantle all your personal protections in order for business. We're so open for business. I personally am very, very open for business. Allegedly.
Speaking of business, I wanted to highlight something we talked about earlier this morning, I should say. I'm going to highlight something real quick and then we'll move on, but I thought it was important to show this. This is right off the Value Village website. Look at that I just highlighted.
Right there. Shopping at Value Village does not support any nonprofit.
There you go.
In the small print.
That's right on their webpage.
Always got to read the fine print.
Right on their webpage, right? Super Savers Club, donate, thrift proud, thrift, save, enjoy, impact and sustainability report, get special, blah, 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 blah. Our Value Village cycle. Here's how it works. We accept your donations on behalf of a local nonprofit. We pay our nonprofit partners for your stuff, helping them fund programs in your community. Shopping at Value Village does not support any nonprofit.
Wow.
So, right? We pay you? No, we don't.
Wow.
This is right on their website, valuevillage.ca.
So they have like this whole thing that says that we support on behalf of a local nonprofit. We pay our nonprofit partners for your stuff, helping them like this. And then, so that's all great. And then at the bottom, no, we don't really do that. What?
No, we don't do that.
What good?
Like, seriously? How can you
Oh, okay.
say this? There's not even an asterisk here.
Yeah. Now the only thing I can think of is if we're really splitting words, because it says shopping at Value Village supports no nonprofit. I guess maybe Value Village has relationships with nonprofits that they do pay, but the profits don't. The money that I guess Value
Well,
Villages pays them out of something other than sales. I don't know
well, who's their
what.
nonprofit partners, and what do they get? Like 1/16th of a penny? It's kind of like when the NFL does their big breast cancer awareness promotional thing every single year. They've been doing it for years, and you can buy a sweater for this team or a jersey for this team or this, and a percentage of the profit goes to breast cancer awareness or breast cancer cure or whatever the case may be. Whatever, I can't even remember what they call it. And the percentage that they get is less than half of 1%.
Mm.
It's just a way to sell more gear to put more money in the pockets of the ownership and league. Yeah, they do donate a portion, but it's minuscule. You want to help out? Just go and donate your hard-earned money directly to the charity. Buying a hockey sweater or a football sweater with a pink ribbon on it is not helping. It's not.
It's almost like when you hear a portion of the proceeds go to.
Yeah.
Ask what portion.
What portion? A portion of the profits go to, not proceeds, profits, by the way. A portion of the profit goes to what portion?
Yes.
What is your profit margin on that sweater that was made by a 6-year-old? And anyway, I'm getting off topic here, but you know.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, what portion matters? Like again, charitable giving also needs to be informed giving, right?
And look, I'm guilty of purchasing at places like that too, because I can't afford otherwise. This shirt, I got at Winners. I got them in a 3-pack. Where is it made? Well, it wasn't made in Canada because I got 3 of them for like $10.
Yep. We know it wasn't made in Canada.
And why did I do that? Because it was what I could afford.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, we all try to make the best decisions we can, but we also have to get by, right? And get by in life too. So, all right. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay. Over the course of the weekend, as you may know, kits and cubs, the Prime Minister of Canada was in Italy because the Pope was being inaugurated, was the papal inauguration and the Pope's inaugural mass over the course of the weekend. And Mark Carney did go representing Canada. And of course, we had all the typical conservative stuff again. Why is he going? Why is he spending our money? Blah, 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 like this. He should just stay here, blah, blah, whatever. Oh, yeah, he says he's going to meet other people, blah, blah. Well, he did meet other people. He met about a dozen people. He met with the freshly re-elected Prime Minister of Australia, Tony Albanese, and he met with the leader of Italy, Giorgia Meloni. And he met with both the Prime Minister and the President of Italy, actually, there while he was there. He met with the Pope. Let's see, who else did he meet? He met with the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. A whole bunch of people. J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, about a week or so after meeting with the actual president. A little check-in. How are things going? Get a little update. So, there was a decent amount of business done there because everybody else is going to be there. But of course, the main thing, of course, is, and you have to remember, again, we talk about Rome, we talk about anything, but the Vatican specifically is its own sort of territory. So it's really weird because the way the Catholic Church is, because the Holy See, it's his own thing. It's not only a religious thing, but it's a diplomatic thing as well. in that sense. And it also, there's a lot of people that are hoping that the newly inaugurated Pope will somehow get involved with what's going on with Ukraine and whatnot, and Gaza and whatnot, and try to bring some influence in whatever way they can. So there's some discussions with regard to that. He also met with the Chancellor of Germany, also recently selected as the Chancellor, Mr. Merz. So the stuff. It's not just showing up for a picture.
No,
Right?
it's not.
There's business that's done, and that's a lot of people that you get to meet in a short amount of time. And while he was there, the Prime Minister did make some news. He batted cleanup for one of his ministers. Now, again, we've been very used to top-down government. Prime Minister Trudeau had pronounced government by cabinet, but it really went to top-down, and Stephen Harper was truly a one-man show. So we're not used to it. We've been out of that loop for a while, but government by cabinet, if you're actually doing it, means that the ministers have authority to go out and speak about things, which means that the ministers may frequently and more often than in a government one party where like we get one message and everybody repeats the same message all the time, no matter what the question is. You're going to get more frank. I don't know. Frank is not the word. You're going to get more contemporaneous answers. Right? Extemporaneous speaking, not contemporaneous, extemporaneous answers. You're going to get like this, but that does mean that you're probably going to get an answer or something that happens before the person has had a chance to discuss it, or before the latest cabinet meeting where things get adjusted and changed. That will happen. So in a government by cabinet, it happens very often that the cabinet minister will say something and the prime minister will come back like either the same day or a couple of days later. Well, actually, more precise, this is what we this is where we're going to go. And so one could say flip-flop, but it's a different kind of flip-flop. Like I said, that's why I said government by cabinet. Ministers will speak, but ministers might put their foot in her mouth, and then the prime minister has to come and back clean up. So it's a different dynamic that's going on. So if that's what's going on here, if that's what we're going to get, we are not going to be surprised. Then we shouldn't be surprised that we hear a minister say something, and then it gets adjusted or it gets additional precision a little later on, right? It's not necessarily a flaw that's inherent to government by cabinet if it happens, but of course every time that happens it makes a big news story, right? You said, and we got corrected, and is there trouble? And you get the whole high school drama soap opera thing that happens with that. But Carney very clearly made it known that while he was in Rome, I guess he had heard the message, and that there will indeed be a comprehensive budget in the fall. Now, as I think
People
it was
still losing their shit over that, and I'm like, oh, settle down. This is not precedent setting. This has been done before. This is nothing new.
I know. Just because it hasn't been done in a while doesn't mean it's new.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, this is more the standard tradition.
Well, and let's remember, and I talked about this yesterday, the government was elected on April 28th. They just formed cabinet. They just got into power. Now, ordinarily, this is when a budget would be delivered. But it's a new cabinet. It's a new government.
But
let them. You don't release a budget on day one. You got to get in there and look at the books and figure it out and put things together. So I don't have an issue with this.
Yeah.
A few friends of mine are going, oh, the typical liberal response. I'm like,
no, not really. Here's the thing, right?
It's not precedent setting.
No, it's not. This really super tight, like almost, I'm going to say the word psychotically tight message control that we've been noticing since that's a relatively new phenomenon. It's made possible by the way communications technology has evolved. Right? It's like everything's digital online. You can watch people saying it as they're saying it all the time. Back in the days, when you had a morning paper and an evening paper, and you had like the morning news, the noon news, the 6 o'clock news, and the 11 o'clock news, and that was it. No 24-hour news station. When somebody said something, you sometimes had to wait till the next day
to hear about
or the next day to hear what the reaction was going to be. Right? Like this. So This is like, okay, you're going over to this thing, and then you got this person's being live streamed, and you got this person at the campaign team watching it, going like, oh, he said that, he said that, he said that. Then they come in, and this they can watch you and monitor you. That wasn't the case back then. You couldn't be everywhere all the time, whatnot. So people would say stuff, then would come back. So this, like, we all have to be singing from the same hymn book, yes, but we all need to be saying the same thing in the exact same lines, robot repeat media lines, and nothing else, and not showing up like this. And if that is relatively new phenomenon, right?
Yes.
And it's very abnormal. And when we see the bad sides of that, right? Then you get people not showing up to debates. Then you get people really not answering questions, like the same robot repeat line 3 different times to the same question, or right? And it just it's a total turnoff for those of us who are at home watching it, just wanting. It's like, dude, you were using your money, you were using our money, and you're doing these things on our time. And as citizens, we legitimately have a right to know. Like, it is actually written in law. We have a right to know what it is you are doing on our time with our dime. So give us a damn answer. Right?
Of our time and our time, could we please look? Pierre Poilievre is living rent free, and he's unemployed, and we're paying for his rent, right? We're paying for his staff and all this in Stornoway. Okay, now one of the comments was, well, there's no reason for him to move out because he's just going to get reelected and he'll have to move back in. Fair point. Like, I can't argue with that.
We're talking about pure money, yes.
Except we don't know that he's going to get reelected.
That's the thing.
We don't know that. And that, it's going to happen as soon as possible. But as soon as possible is going to be a few months from now. It doesn't happen right away. The by-election is going to cost a few $1 million. Pierre Poilievre spent double what the prime minister spent last year. And now he's unemployed and he's still getting airtime. Please just ignore him. Just ignore him. Nothing he says has any value because he's not a member of parliament.
Yeah. And we're seeing that. We're seeing clips of him like in front of the parliament buildings, like doing these press conferences. He's talking to, we don't know who, as he finishes talking and then walks away, like goes and like sort of waves. To who?
To who?
We don't know. And then he's walking, and it's like, and walking where?
Well,
because he's not going inside the parliament building unless he has another MP with him.
That's right. He said the other day, let's get the government out of the way and do the right things. They just got elected. Settle down, man. They just got there. Get them out of the way. You're not in government. And they just got elected. Settle down, you obnoxious narcissist asshole.
I know. So,
I never wanted to smack somebody harder or more in my life. I'm not going to do it.
And I don't advocate anybody doing it.
Don't do it. But you can.
But wanting to do it is very human.
You can want to do it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. I do have to go.
Yes, my friend.
But there's something I have here that just came across my feed that I thought you would find very interesting. Well, it's a 38-second audio clip. There's a visual that goes with it. But this is from Senator Ron Johnson. He's a Republican senator. And listen to what he has to say here. This is fascinating. This, this may come as a surprise, or maybe it won't. Have a listen.
If you really look at it, look at the numbers, and I look at the numbers, we will actually increase the deficit over the next 10 years, going from right now $37 trillion in debt. CBO says we'll be at 59. My guess is we'd probably increase that by about $4 trillion with the big new deal, or the big beautiful bill. That puts us at $62 to $63 trillion. Again, you have to be honest. And by the way, I know Buck at the end of the show, or I think you might have asked me this last time. Well, what are you going to cut? It's impossible to say, Medicaid, absolutely have to go after that. But what you need is a process. If you really look at it, look at the numbers, and I look at the numbers, we will actually increase the deficit over the next 10 years, going from.
Senator Ron Johnson.
Yes, Senator Ron Johnson.
As I mentioned.
Admitting.
Senator.
Yeah.
He knows that the entire state is voting on whether or not he gets to keep a seat. We're going to see these breaks happen more and more.
Yes. Increasing the debt to 62 trillion. That is an unfathomable amount of money. You cannot possibly, you can say the number, but you can't comprehend how big
Not
that
at all.
is.
Not at all.
I mean, most of us truly can't comprehend $1 billion. And he's talking 60 trillion, 62 trillion.
At that point, it's just like 62 trillion. The difference between 15 billion and 62 trillion for me is conceptually, what's the difference? I'm never going to come close to any of that. I mean, I know it's way more, but
well, according to there's different things I've got here, and according to Narrow Money, there's $8 trillion worldwide combined money in the world. This includes physical cash, coins. It's estimated at $8 trillion. Now, there's about roughly 50 trillion in checking and deposits, and combine all of that, all financial assets, globally speaking. So every single living, breathing human being, corporation, everything on earth, about 130 trillion. All the money in the world. The world's total debt, 220 trillion. Money isn't real, folks.
Wait. The entire world debt is 220, and he wants to blow a 60 trillion in just one nation's economy?
Yeah.
Whoa.
220 is the entire global debt.
Damn.
And there's only 130 trillion in combined assets and money. Liquid cash is about 8 trillion. So actual liquidity, 8 trillion.
Yay.
So anyway.
Ooh, that's going to be a mess.
Yeah. So
if that, yeah. Oh,
I mean, come on.
Oh God.
These are figures that are not comprehensible to humans. They're not. You can say it, you can write it down, you can look at that number, but if you contemplate, if you actually sit there and think about how much the difference between $1 billion and $1 trillion, what is it? 1 million seconds versus $1 billion.
Yeah.
12 days versus 32 years. You know what $1 trillion is? 32,000 years. If the numbers are correct, let me just see. 1 trillion seconds. I'll just look it up here again. Yeah, so 1 trillion seconds is roughly 31,710 years, according to a calculation on study.com. So 1 billion is 32 years. 1 trillion is 32,000 years. And they're talking a $62 trillion debt. Again, these numbers are not
trying to
fathomable.
backload and hide.
Yeah.
Yikes.
32,000 years is 1 trillion seconds. So you think about $1 trillion debt. It's not a number that you can possibly put into your lifetime and make sense of. It isn't. You're right. It's a fictional concept used to control the population. Most money does not exist, and the only tangible currency is gold. And here's the thing. Only humans exchange money.
Right.
Every other living being just gets along in the world. Well, gets along. You know, some of them are food for others. But, you know, we work for money. I would like to live in a world where scarcity was a non-existent thing, and we all had enough.
Right.
And then we did the things that we want to do because we love them.
Right.
I do this because I love it. I'm not making any money at it. And it's getting harder and harder because I don't need to go on that diatribe again. Anyway, I do have to go. I am 10 minutes late. You folks take care. I love each and every one of you. Thanks for coming out each and every day. I do appreciate you. Please do us a favor if you could and spread the message and share the word and get our name out there, because we are trying to grow this channel. We are trying to create revenue from it so that we don't have to slave away at our day jobs anymore. And if I get a day job, that is. Anyway, fingers crossed. I have a meeting today. Hopefully things go well. I do have to go, but you folks take care. I will see you very soon. And apologies that I was not able to do an ASMR or a jazz show yesterday. I was not able to get up off the couch yesterday, and sometimes that happens. Today will be productive. Today I will get things done. I have number of things to take care of today, and hopefully I'm able to accomplish. If I can accomplish half of them, I'll feel good.
It'll be a good day. Yeah. And for our podcast listeners, and of course you'll only hear this after, but hey, time travel and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it was my fault that the show did not get up on podcast because I was trying to learn to navigate my new life.
No worries.
So
I'll
hopefully
have it-
I will.
I'll have it up
we
later.
will get caught up today as well.
Yeah. All right, I got to go.